I was asked to introduce the speaker, but many of you have been here since yesterday, so you know already the speaker very well. I'm Karin. Joseph Slovik is, for those who haven't been here, and there are a few, he is the head of the APM Ministries department in the Czechoslovakian Union. Now, you might say there is no more country, Czechoslovakia, or others might say, what are you talking about? So now there are two countries, Czech Republic and Slovak Republic, but the two countries form one union. Since they are tiny countries and they speak the same language, I hope I'm not embarrassing anybody. It's a dialect. Yeah, they're forming one union. The APM Ministries is stronger until now in the Czech Republic because obviously they have Joseph there and a lot of other people. And I was just told they are now starting to really build it up in Slovakia, which is closer to the people who are in Vienna because they didn't have anybody there. And that's something maybe for you to consider, to ponder upon. To build up a ministry, you need people who are willing to work. Now, for APM Ministries, it's easy. You love children, wonderful, you are there. You love old people, wonderful, you're there. You can come for people who are mourning, wonderful, you are there. Yeah, you are a caretaker, like a nurse, you can nurse somebody, wonderful, I can't do that. God gave me only a brain, nothing else. So if you can take care of people, you are in that ministry. That's the right place for you. So it's actually for everybody. And then there's something else about this ministry which is really special. It's a diverse ministry. You can't say you are a specialist in this field, so go there, because I might not be able to cover other areas. Yeah, like somebody who is very good in working with people with autism spectrum disorder might maybe not good to work with people who are using wheelchairs or who are blind. So there are a lot of specialities. And for us as an international church, it's also interesting because we are diverse. And the world of APM Ministries is also diverse. So whatever your talent, for sure, you can find a place in this ministry. And one more word, it's the most underdeveloped ministry in Austria. And Austria is one of the most developing countries in the world concerning this ministry. Philippines, many African countries are far ahead of the Austrian Union. So we really need to build it up. And in case you think we have a social system, we don't. Because the needs for the souls and the social needs are not being met by the social system, even though it's called social. The people need friends. The people need people who love them. So if you are able to love somebody, if you are willing to fulfill the commandment, love your neighbor as yourself, you are well placed in this ministry, because the main issue is love people, let them be as they are, accept them as they are, as we want to be accepted the way we are, and we will win a lot of souls. Because people who are already living outside of the society, and in Austria, people of all of those groups, they are living outside of society. And sometimes people are met by more than one need. Sometimes people are met by more than one need. So they really need people who love them, who befriend them, who are willing to be with them. Because there is no solution. You put them in Wohngemeinschaft and they stay there forever. That's not a good life. Let me call it like this. To learn more, we're calling on our guest speaker. Joseph Slovik. Easy. For a Czech name, that's easy.
Thank you. So thank you for introduction. I will ask for presentation. Yeah, thank you. I check if this works. Yeah, it works. Okay. So I don't know if there is somebody who was not there last evening and this morning. Is there somebody who is just a new on this topic? Nobody. You are new. Okay. So I hope you will understand still, because we started yesterday evening and continued in a sermon. And now we are at last afternoon, last part. I tried to cut something my presentations topic to one for the whole afternoon, and we will divide it, I think, with some break. When we should have a break, please tell me so that I can check the time.
When you see us falling. We see.
After 1 hour. So it's a 2:15. So 3:15, we could stop for a break because there will be some snack. And for, I don't know how long will be the break, and then we'll the last part. Yeah? Okay. So the question is now how to create an inclusive church. As Karen told, we should focus on inclusion of people who are still outside at the edge of society and of the church. I will start with our heads. I talked a little bit about theology, special theologies and theological prejudices in the morning, because we as Christians sometimes think in theological concepts, and we use them as a glasses to view people around. Yeah. So I will show you 4 or 5 theological concepts that we can even found in theological journals and books, which somehow deal also with people and look at people with special needs, those who are different from majority. The first theology, we touch this theology in a story in morning sermon because it's a theology of guilt. You remember that there was a story from John chapter 9 about a blind man. And even disciples of Jesus, after going for months, maybe years, I'm not sure, with Jesus, they at this moment say, who made the sin? Who is guilty here? This man who is blind, or his family, somebody around? Because they understood special needs, the blindness, as a result of somebody's sin. God put the punishment for sin on a person. Yeah, it means that or sometimes Christian, even today, it was through the whole Christian history, and it's still today we can find it in our heads, even in Adventist church, that people think like this. Disability and social exclusion is related to a person's sin as a consequence of their actions or God's punishment. Yeah? Perhaps we also, as Adventists, sometimes have a filter that we look at people through our focus on health lifestyle. If somebody has some illness, or sometimes the results in kind of disability, we easily say he had a bad lifestyle and this is result, or result of his parents or grandparents' lifestyle, and we know there is a genetics, and and if we see this as a result, it can be in some cases, but not in all cases, and it's not automatic. We cannot connect it just like an automatic thing, yeah. And in this case, we really see these people that they are sinners. It's matter of their decision, bad decision. Yeah? There is another theology. Yeah, thank you. Sorry. Another theology of sacrifice. It looks at this ability or disadvantage as a heavy fate or a heavy cross on a person assigned to this person by God. And it must be borne humbly. Just God decided you that you are the person who will carry this cross. You was born as a blind or as a deaf or as a person with cerebral palsy, somehow paralyzed. So it's a fate for you, and you are chosen for this kind of life. Be humble because it's from God. I don't believe that God has chosen hard lives for people. If Jesus told his disciples that he came so that we have a life and its fullness, so I don't believe that it was a decision of God that somebody is born like this. Yeah? It's not really his decision to play a game with us in our lives. Then there is a theology of charity. We know this theology from medieval times, from middle times, from church. We can call it Catholic Church because in those times there were no Seventh-day Adventist church yet. Yeah, and we know that Christians in those times thought that it's a task for Christianity or Christians to take care of people in need, and it's not a bad idea. It's not a bad idea, charity. Yeah? But there are some risks in this kind of theology. A person's handicap, according to this theology, is an opportunity for those around this person to show charity and mercy. And what is the risky point? This disadvantaged person is dependent on these surroundings. Yeah? So it's good to show Christian mercy and God's mercy and help people in need. What's problem in this approach? That if it's that person is considered to be dependent on this help, because it makes not partnership but hierarchy in approach. We are those who are higher, and these people are in need. So they are not considered to be equal. They are dependent on us. If we do not help, they may die. In some countries, it can be really, in some situations. But in our situation, our society, it was told here that we have a social system, etc. So nobody dies because he has some kind of disability, etc. So we need to change as a Christian's mind that if we help, it's help to my brother, my sister, or a human being who is equal in God's eyes as I am, equal to me. So no hierarchy. And I talk about theology of prosperity in morning sermon, and it's problem of our, I think, in our Adventist church, because we are a church full of people who are successful, healthy, because we have health programs. We are focused on education. We are blessed by God. So we feel sometimes that we get these blessings from God as a result of our obedience. But what about if there is somebody who is not so blessed, who is not healthy, who was born even as a person with special needs? Where is the blessing? And he or she is not able to do anything to change it, and we are not able to do anything to change it. Yeah? So how to deal with that? Where is the God who uh, who how to say give the reward to a person obeying his word. And if you are on a wheelchair and you obey the God, then nothing changes in your life in this situation. Okay, you can be more happy and spiritually, but you still sit on a wheelchair. In the society around, it's not easy for you. Yeah. So we know that it's not true that God always removes handicap or disadvantage from his faithful followers. Yeah, it's not always the way. What's the worst? That we as believers, followers, and obedient Christians, in 1 second, as I said, car accident or something like that, we can become those who are on a wheelchair or a person who is with special needs. Yeah, and where is the blessing? If I did not anything bad, and where is the blessing? Yeah, at the time. So I also mentioned the last theology, which we consider in Adventist Possibility Ministry to be the best way. It's a theology which considers people with disabilities to be an equal part, equal beings, human beings, equal parts of body of Christ. And we, in this theology, we believe that, and we see it in Bible, that God even identifies with them. We call it anti-discrimination or pro-social theology. And I think we should accommodate this theology more even in our church, because it's not, I think it's, most people in our church is not familiar with theology well. Yeah, it's maybe something new, and we have to open eyes in this way, how to read Bible through these glasses. Because in the Bible story, we find that handicap, if there is a people with special needs and we see some kind of handicap there, it's not equal to sin. Yeah. Sin always leads to, we can call it spiritual handicap. As Jesus said to the leaders in the story in John, when we heard in morning sermon, he told them, "You are all blind." This blind man was healed, and he, even though he was not yet healed, he was not blind spiritually. And you see, you have just very good eyes, but you are blind spiritually, because you do not see who I am, who is really your Heavenly Father. You are going in the darkness. You know that Jesus said, you are going in the darkness. And John repeated in his letter, I think John 1 or 2, it's written that if we do not love, he who does not love his neighbor, he is going in the darkness. He is blind, still blind. So sin is leading to our spiritual handicap, spiritual blindness, spiritual paralyzation, etc. But it is not, sin is not directly related to physical, visual, hearing disability or social disadvantage. It's not related. Because, as I said, you can be faithful and obedient Christian and follower of Jesus, and you can be born as a person with special needs, or you can become a person with special needs during the life. Yeah. So it's not connected directly. Second, handicap does not mean Lord's rejection of a person. Yeah. If you are a person with special needs, it does not mean that you are rejected by God. Yes, in Bible, we find some words that somebody who was disabled was not allowed, for instance, to do some services in a temple. Yeah, a man who was disabled was not allowed to be a priest. And many Christians, Jews and Christians, following Jewish theology, they explain for themselves this God's word as this person is rejected. But it's not written there. If you read God's word in Old Testament, he said he will not be a priest, because a priest is somebody who shows God in fullness. Yes? But at the same time, in other words, God says, if you have somebody like this in your community, you will take care of them. Yeah? You will care for these people. So, and we know that even if Jesus comes to on this earth, so he's touching those who were excluded absolutely, and even we find people with lepra. Them. It was not allowed, and God to his people, do not touch them, because it's infection, it's dangerous for you. And Jesus came and he touched them and he said, I, as a God, I am open even for them. Yeah. He was prepared to be fully for those who were in need here. So we need to explain, to understand God's word in a right way. Nowhere in the Bible we find that God rejected somebody who was in need or who was with special needs, with some kind of disability. On the contrary, God does deal with the disadvantaged people, both in present, in past, even in Jesus' ministry, in present, and in future. And I mentioned these verses in morning sermon because we find it in Jeremiah, Isaiah, in the Old Testament, that God said, I will call them and they will come. All of those who are blind, who are deaf, who are paralyzed, and they will be in my kingdom. And in Luke 14, the story that Lord said to his servants, okay, those who were not with special needs, those who were invited to the dinner and they refused because they were married and they have new field, etc. So let's go to those who are on the edge, who are outside, who are excluded, the deaf, the blind, the paralyzed, etc., and invite them. And they come, and there was a full table of people. Yeah. So God does deal with these people, comes to them. And what's the most important? He himself, God himself, identifies with people with special needs or with people in need generally. And you can find it in Matthew 25. It's a well-known story where Jesus said, and there are those who said, we believed you, and he said, I do not know you, because when I was ill, when I was in prison, etc., you didn't come to help me. And then there are those who are coming to God's kingdom, and they are welcome there. And he said, come, because when I was ill, when I was in a prison, when I was thirsty and hungry, you helped me. And they asked, when we did those things, or when we did not help you. And he says, whatever you do or do not do for those in need around, you do or do not do for me. Yeah. So he identifies himself with people who are in need and those with special needs. So it's very important to consider. I've chosen two quotations from the books, theological books, and I think it's interesting to read these quotations because it can help us to understand the point. First, a person with a physical or intellectual disability or someone socially excluded does not cease to be a human. Yeah? It's still a human being, even though it's a people with severe multiple handicap, cannot move, cannot speak, need a help in every regular need. Yeah? It's still a human being. He or she is a sinful human being, just like everybody else. In spite of his or her handicap, a person still bears imago Dei. It means God's image, together with human nature. Yeah. So we are to find God's image even if in somebody who is disabled in a severe way, yeah? In multiple handicap, etc. And the second one, there must be a unique place for people with special needs within the church as a Christ body. God is directly identified with disadvantaged people, first of all, in the story of Christ's resurrection, when he shows his disciples the lasting effect of injuries on his hands and feet caused by the crucifixion. By the way, this is the same idea that we can find in writings of Ellen White, because she also wrote that Jesus will keep his injuries on hands and feet for the whole eternity. It will be only visible sign of the whole sinful history of this earth. And these injuries connect him with those who were somehow, how to say, disabled, somehow in special needs, somehow disadvantaged, because he stood on our place as those who are handicapped by sin, all of us, and especially maybe those who really live with some kind of special needs. They maybe understand more than if we are healthy. What does it mean? What Jesus really experienced in this situation, because they also experience some points of history when they are excluded, when they have a lot of pain, etc. Yeah. So in Bible we always or often find a symbol of all people with special needs in widows and orphans. You mentioned that. Widows and orphans are often many times a symbol of the relationship of God's people to those with special needs. Because God usually say, take care of widows and orphans. But we can cover there under this name, we can cover all people with special needs. Yeah, because these groups were how to say, in of social exclusion and disadvantage in contemporary society. Yeah, and we find it not only in the Old Testament but in the New Testament as well, because James in chapter 1 reminded again, and he connected with the true Christianity. If you are really follower of God, it can be seen on your life that you visit widows and you take care of orphans. Yeah, it's written there. How can it be done? By meeting these people, being nearby them. We talk about 5B, being nearby, listening to them. Sometimes there is nobody who can listen to them, who will listen to them. Yeah? They have no voice in a society. By reflecting their needs, even their surroundings sometimes do not care of their needs. So if somebody asks them, what do you need? And what do you need spiritually? They cannot find this anywhere besides of the church, filling of their spiritual needs. Using their gifts, abilities, and potential. It's very important. As I said, They are not coming with open hand and waiting what we will give them. They are coming with their gifts and abilities, and they want to serve. Yeah, they need opportunities to be serving in some kind of ministry in church. So we can do that also by supporting these people, empowering their ministry, and equalizing them in a church. Think what could these people do in your church? What could they do? You are singing here. I have experienced if somebody blind is coming to our church, in many times, those people are good in music. Yeah, a lot of blind people are music players or teachers because they compensate blindness with using a better capacity of their hearing. So they are very good in playing piano or singing. Let's use these gifts if they come. Yeah. And we find other opportunities for other people, of course, and by developing our empathy to these people. It means, what is it, empathy? What does it mean to develop our empathy? Empathy means understanding that try to feel like they feel, probably. Of course, if we are not in the situation, we can just imagine. We can suppose, and it's good to ask also. We can ask. We can talk to them. If we talk to them, we consider a lot of things that we cannot imagine before they do not tell us. And if we know after this hearing, after we listen to them, and after try to imagine, so we can feel and we can understand what they need. So at the right time, we can see and we can understand what they need and help and change the conditions so they can be involved in our church life, etc. So the question, why should the church be inclusive? And I sometimes hear this question, why should the church be inclusive? Is there a reason for that? Yes. I mentioned in the sermon that the opposite of inclusivity is exclusivity. If something is exclusive, it means that it's not for everybody. But the church must be for everybody because God said everybody is invited. Yeah? So we cannot be exclusive. We have to be inclusive. Jesus' attitude to these people was always inclusive, to all people. That's why socially excluded people followed him, because they did not find any kind of this approach of Jesus in their surroundings. It was the first man in their life for many of these people who took care of them, who was not afraid to touch them, or who told him, your sins are forgiven, etc. And who told him, stand and walk, rise and walk. Yeah. So I believe, as I read in Bible, in the Gospel, that in the crowds following Jesus, there was a lot of numerous of people with special needs. Yeah, because he was attractive, especially for those who were not successful in society, who were not accepted in society. On the contrary, those who were successful and were accepted, and they were attracted by Jesus, they had to decide, and it was hard for them. Remember Nicodemus. Nicodemus is coming first time to Jesus during the night because he was afraid. What can be in his life? How it can be dangerous for his success and his position in society. Finally, we can believe that Nicodemus became his disciple, because when Jesus died and he's buried, there is Nicodemus. With Joseph from Arimathea, there is Nicodemus. Yeah. And we are called to the unity in diversity as a church. In your church, it's, I think, just usual. You are a diverse church. People from many countries, many cultures. Maybe sometimes it's not easy to deal with that, but you are coming because you love God and you love the church, and the diversity is, for you, is something usual. It's not in all churches, in our church, in all congregations. Yeah, if there is not a lot of people coming from other cultures, other languages, etc. So sometimes it's a group of people who feel to be somehow similar one to other, and each other to other, somehow homogeneous group. But we are created as people with different gifts, different problems, needs, we can say. So we are diverse as a human beings. And this is, I think, this is the way we should look at people who have some kind of special needs, which are not just, we can say, very frequented. That's a kind of diversity. Yeah, most people walk on their feet. If there is somebody who cannot walk and is on a wheelchair, we can look at it as a kind of diversity. Yeah, most people hear, but if there is somebody who cannot hear, yeah, it's different, but we can look at it as a kind of diversity. Yesterday, I said that 6% of people in age above 60 is at 60% of level of hearing from their young times. Yeah. So if you are above 60, you can expect, of course, not all people, but 60%. If you are in 40%, you are okay. Okay. What's important, we are called to unity and diversity because we are a part of Christ's body. And we are different because parts of our body are different. Yeah. So it's the same with people in Christ's body here. And this is the message that God sent to the children of Israel when he proclaimed peace in Jesus Christ. He is Lord of all. It's written in Acts. He is Lord of all, not only of some people, not only of those who have no special needs, etc. People, Lord of all. He is Lord of all people. Whoever wants to follow him and believe him, he is accepted. He is Lord of all. Of course, those who do not accept him, he is Lord of them as well, because he created them, and they cannot even take a breath without his help. But they do not consider that, and they do not believe that. It's their decision. But the matter of special needs, it's not something that excludes them from this group. He is Lord of all. So I believe that Christian church and our church should be the most inclusive community on this earth. Because inclusivity is a natural result of Christian values. If you understand inclusion as we described, it means acceptance for people who are diverse, despite of their special needs, lower abilities, etc. It's connected to some kind of values to accept these people. And I do not know any other kind of community except of church that has the values, basic values necessary for acceptance for all people. In society, we hear or read about inclusion in schools. Yeah, it's major. You can hear inclusion in connection with inclusive education. And it's not easy in schools because the people who work there, teachers, etc., and parents of all children, not all of them have the values that are inclusive. Many people in society do not accept inclusive values. But if we are Christians, our values are the values necessary for inclusion. Yeah? We are called to be the community which is fully inclusive. I believe that it's as well it's essential principle of the church because of the image of the body of Christ, because of the image of a temple of Holy Spirit, etc. Yeah. So the church is made of different people who wouldn't meet each other outside the church, I think, sometimes. Yeah? But Holy Spirit connects us in unity, in one body, in one community. So we have this advantage. We are ready to be a part of this different, diverse body. And I also think that it's a strong point to mission. Because we have calling to go and make disciples of all nations, everywhere. And it's written that all those the Father gives me will come to me, and whoever comes to me, I will never drive away. It's John. Yeah. So if somebody who cannot hear, who cannot see, who is from different culture, who is paralyzed, etc., whoever comes to Jesus, whoever believes in him and follow him, we are not allowed to tell him, go out, because you are not acceptable in our community. Yeah? Because our head, Jesus, accept him. And we as a body cannot do something which is not according to our head. Yeah? So this is the point. And we read it in Bible when Paul wrote to Philippians, you should be being like-minded, having the same love, being one in spirit and of one mind. Do nothing out of selfish ambition or vain conceit. Rather, in humility, value others above yourselves, not looking to your own interest, but each of you to the interests of the others. Yeah, it is relationship of people in God's kingdom. As I said, if we can create, let's say, an image or a part of God's kingdom even here on this earth. Jesus said, God's kingdom, it's not somewhere that you can show, you can wait for that. If God is among you and you believe in me, the God's kingdom is here among you. Yeah. And in 1 Corinthians, we know the image of body. I will not repeat it again. We cannot tell to somebody, we do not need you because you are somehow disadvantaged, you have some special needs, etc. Because if it is a person who, somebody who wants to follow Jesus, he is a part of his body. Yeah. And some parts of body can be very small, and we can consider them to be weak and maybe not necessary, but some of these parts are vital. We cannot live without them. Yeah? So, okay, where are we as a church now? We have to admit that as an Adventist church, we accepted all stereotypes of Christian Protestantism. Yeah. It means the theology concepts that we started with, is 5 theologies. So we also have among us, there are people who think about those with special needs through theology of guilt or theology of our favorite theology maybe is theology of prosperity, etc. So it's our problem, and also problem of other churches. Yeah, it's well as well. Uh, we as Adventists have a big focus on mission. Problem is that our mission focus sometimes is over the social context. Yeah, we do not consider sometimes the needs of people, real needs of people, and um, do not consider their specifics. Sometimes we focus on numbers of baptisms, etc., and we see it as a result of good mission. Yeah? And we sometimes miss the social context, because in this mission effort we forget the people who were in crowds following Jesus. And as I said, if we prepare some mission activities, do you consider how to invite those who do not hear, how to invite those who cannot see, how to invite those who are on wheelchairs, who have some kind of mental disorders, etc.? Do you consider that? Otherwise, you would have invite also sign language interpreter, because you expect that deaf people will come, and you somehow need to get these people known that you are ready to invite them to something here. And if you make a posters to the buses or somewhere, you have to consider that blind people cannot read it. How to do that? Oh, you have radios here, local radios, television. These people use sound. So they listen to radio, listen to television, or I contact also usually the organizations working with these people, social services, etc., that can let these people know that there is something for them. So if you prepare some mission activity, there is a music, concerts, blind people like this, and they are ready to come, I think. But they do not know that it's here and that they are welcome. So we have to consider these people if we think about mission activities. As a church, we have some demanding norms and high standards and prosperity, so that, let's say, poor people, people who are excluded, people at the edge of society, can be afraid to enter, to come in. Yeah. It's in theology, as I said, if you have lower intellectual abilities and you need to explain all the prophecies 2,300 and so you are not able to reach baptism in this case, that you need to learn these things. So we need to adapt somehow our expectations for people. I worked for many years with people with severe intellectual disabilities. And I can tell you, people who cannot read, cannot write, who can hardly to speak, but they have their spiritual needs. And some of them came to me and told me, I pray for you. And I believe that God takes care of you. I believe that God takes care of me as well. And yeah, they have this simple but very clear spiritual needs and spiritual understanding. So we have to adapt somehow for these people. And it's the same with deaf people, because they also have different kind of thinking and etc. Yeah? People with autistic spectrum disorder. Yeah? So we need to adapt things for individual diverse groups. And we have some specifics that create limits for inclusion into our community. So we need to adjust conditions. Even our liturgy, our services, we try to prepare 2 times. We prepared special worships for families with children with mental disability and adult persons with intellectual disabilities. In Brno, it was near from you. And one of my colleagues from our team prepared it. She is on a wheelchair. You will see her on a video later. And she prepared it with a pastor, local pastor, as a kind of story. There was a drama. Yeah, it was a small theater, biblical story in a drama with, for instance, story about Jesus, even about his crucifixion and rising from the death, etc. And the Last Supper with the disciples. And these people need to see this story, dramatically prepared. There was a lot of music, songs that they could sing, not the songs that we sing because they are too difficult for them, but simple songs. And also they could taste it, some things from Last Supper of Jesus with disciples, because we used more senses at one time, yeah. So, and it was very good for them. They were very happy. Some of them said, for the first time, we enjoy really worshipped with full of our being, our existence. Yeah, we understood the first time. So, yeah, we have to find a way. We are looking for the way how to adjust it for their needs as well. And I can tell you that it's very refreshing also for our church, because if we change something, for some people it's difficult to change something. But if we adjust things according to the needs of some people, it can be also helpful for other people that something changed and they can understand the things and enjoy the things in a different way. Yeah, so it can be helpful. So the results is that we have small percentage of people with special needs in our church. As I told you, we are lower than in a major society. It's not very happy result for us. We have high barriers. You have the stairs. I can tell you, I don't know how is it in other churches in Austria. The same. In our country, we, thanks to the project supported also by Division in the last 5 years, we also checked all our buildings for accessibility for people with special needs. We have the goal, at least in each region, in each district, to have at least one building, one church, which is fully accessible. Yeah, we found it that 80% of churches are not accessible, not fully or anywhere. Yeah, but now we have the first step above us, behind us, that on internet webpage of our church, you can find the picture, the logo at each, in the list of the church, at each church, you can find the logo if it's fully accessible, partly accessible for people on wheelchair, or not accessible. Because if you are on a wheelchair and you decide to go to the church, and you have to get assistance and transportation, etc., it's expensive, it takes a time, it takes people. If you do these things and come to the church and there are stairs and you are not able to enter, everything is lost. Yeah? Now you can look at the list and find a church around somewhere that is fully accessible. And safely you can go there and you are sure that you can participate without problems. You can get into the building, there is a toilet for you, everything is prepared so that you can enjoy it fully on a wheelchair. Yeah, if you are on a mechanical wheelchair, it can be done with a few men that they will help you to get in. But if you on an electric wheelchair, it's not possible, as I said to you, because it's very heavy, etc. So we need to check it. We met very strange things. Some churches are prepared, and they said we are barrier-free. And we found that at least there is one 7 centimeters step. And if you are on an electric wheelchair, you do not get through that. Or they have a barrier-free toilet for people on a wheelchairs, yeah? But they do not have anybody in the church on a wheelchair. So they said, why to have empty room for this? So they use it just for giving the fixed storage. Yeah, there is a ping pong table and washing machine, etc. And if somebody comes on a wheelchair, no toilet for him. So we have to change the thinking in this. We have high barriers and also barriers in social communication. We have now free professional, not professional in a church, but outside the church, but they can serve in a church and professional sign language interpreters for deaf people. But it's not enough for the whole union. So we try to find more volunteers. And we have about 20 young people, but even older people who learned basic level of sign language. We paid for the courses if they wanted from the project. And they learned sign language, so they are able to speak to a person who is deaf and use language.
What is the membership in your union, Czechoslovakia and Czechoslovakian Union?
So the languages?
No, the total membership.
Membership. We are as union two conferences, Czech, 3 conferences, Czech, Moravian and Silesian, and Slovakian.
Okay.
So you ask for membership of these people, or
Yes, of all the 3, because you're speaking with them. The interpreters for how many members?
for how many members? So how many deaf people are in
No, the total membership.
total membership? Yeah, I think it's up to 10,000. Yeah, 7 to 10 between that. Yes.
So we need half of it.
Yes, and if you have this service, if you have the person who is able at least speak to the deaf person who is coming, so at this time, this person is welcome, can understand, and is the start point. And they are coming if they know that there is somebody who can speak to them. Otherwise, it's not for them because they're absolutely lost. Yeah, so. It's good. So these volunteers, it's very good way because it's hard. I think it's the same in Austria. It's too hard people who are professional sign language interpreters. And even if you pay for professional sign language interpreters, not all of them agree to interpret in a church. Some of them do not want to be connected with a church, and some of them are not ready to interpret spiritual topics because it's special thing. There are not signs for everything. And in EUD, in our division, we have a group of interpreters from all unions. I think you have one interpreter in Austria.
We don't have even one.
There was one.
The two we have with no only basic
Yes.
basic science.
But one was in a meeting of interpreters in Cologne in January. One from Austria, there was one.
Yeah, but they are not interpreting sign language. We call it begleitete Gebärden, so it's something when they read from the mouth
From the
or
lips.
and there's a special sign.
Okay.
Simplified signs.
Okay. We are trying, we have
Even one.
we have interpreters in our country, in Spain, in Portugal, in Italy, in France, in Germany. And they meet together online or even personally, and they look for the signs for some specific words in the church life, because there are no these words in national languages. You know that each country has its own language, yeah? And in those languages, there are not some specific signs for these words. So they have to find, and they try to find something which should be used across the countries in the whole division and potential in the worldwide. Yeah, because Sabbath and special sign, because Saturday and Sabbath different things for these people to understand. Yeah, and blessings and other words that are not common in regular spoken language. And for deaf people in sign languages is not sign for that. So they are working on that as well. We as a church has a marginal social program because and mission focused on people with special needs. Because we have focuses on other parts than this, yeah, on education, on health ministry, etc., but not on social program. We have ADRA. Our church is well known for ADRA, and many people, many members of our church think in a way we pay for ADRA, and it's our part of social help, yeah, and we are not directly social program for people with special needs and mission focus, as I said. And we have also little historical experience compared to education or health. We have schools, we have hospitals, etc. But historically, we had no focus on people in need, in special needs. So we have no experience.
I just remember a year or two ago, there were this group of people here in Austria who goes to kindergartens, because I work in kindergarten. They were offering to teach us workers to understand sign language.
Yeah.
And it's for free. They even ask us to whether we know certain groups or community that are willing to learn.
Use them.
Because in doing so, we can help others who are in
Yes.
danger, who are
Yes.
in need,
Yes.
by learning to interpret.
Yes.
Unfortunately, I was one of those who did not participate.
I wanted to say.
But then I realize now, if we are interested as a community or as a church, maybe I could contact these people again
Good idea.
and invite them to teach us. If
Because
it's,
I wanted to learn many years ago, but all courses are on Sabbath.
Yes.
they were willing to really.
Good idea.
teach.
All of us know at least 50 signs. You do not know about that, but you know at least 50 signs. Simple. You know what's this. You know what's this. Yeah. But if you learn something more, it's good. If somebody comes to your church and is deaf, at least few words you can start to communicate. It's good point. So very good idea if it's possible. Yes. So I recognized that our problem is that Ellen White didn't write about this topic almost anything. Yeah, we as Adventists, we have some special kind of problem that we need to get advice from his writings, and she wrote really a little on this. But this is very good quotation, and we use it worldwide for this ministry because it's very serious. If you read it, as I saw that it is in the providence of God that widows and orphans, the blind, the deaf, the lame, and persons afflicted in a variety of ways have been placed in close Christian relationship to his church. It is to prove his people and develop their true character. Angels of God are watching to see how we treat these persons who need our sympathy, love, and disinterested benevolence. This is God's test of our character. Yeah. So I do not believe that God make special needs in people's life, but he can use everything for good. And he can use, perhaps he uses that these people are around, and it's not possible to heal all of them now for some reasons. So he used it to rise the quality of his people. So because he is focused on how we approach them, how we accept them, how we involve them in our body of Christ. Yeah. So, do you have any question at this point? Before the break and snack? No question. Yeah.
I'm thinking that the problem why we don't have this type of people groups in our church is because we're not even reaching the families of those people. Because very often, if you think of intellectual disability, very often it's inherited, and there are certain groups that have it, and we're not targeting those people. Because when we have, for example, parents who are not working or they're not able to work, and they already have this problem, or they have problems in having in cleanliness, in living orderly lives, we're not targeting those people because they're so different from us. It's somehow easier to accept somebody in a wheelchair and help him come into the church, inside the church, than to accept people who are so different in how they are and who they are from us. And I think it starts there, accepting the untidy, unruly people. And then another problem I see is also children. How much noise can we bear as a church? Because
Yes.
children with special needs are very often noisy children because they cannot control the sounds they make. And are we really ready? And while we were talking about the church services, this past week we had an unfortunate, the week before, there was a church shooting in Austria for the first time. Not church, school shooting. And all schools had, what do you call it, a minute of solemn minute, how do you call it? And in the school where I work, we also had it. It was compulsory, but we didn't make it a minute. We made it 10 seconds.
Yes.
And are you ready to do 10 seconds when others do 1 minute?
We talked about yesterday that I know a lot of families, some families, not a lot of, but some families I know that left our church because they have a child with ADHD syndrome, and it was not able, of course, the child was not able to be quiet for the whole sermon, etc. And parents heard every Sabbath that it's not good, they have to do something, and the surroundings were not able to understand. Yeah, that's right. So, but what's good message, not only that we should go to them, but they are coming to the church somehow, miraculously they are coming to our church and getting inside and want to be equal part. So it's both way. We should invite them, we should go to them, but at the same time they are coming and asking to be a part of our church. So God calls for all both sides, the people. Okay.
I would like to just say something
Yes.
to the part going back to where you started. I cannot remember the title, but it was something like, it just came to my mind. For example, when we do visitation of sick people, yeah, sick people,
This.
I think so. There's this tendency to outspeak them. Like, oh, you know why you have lung? This is now because you have been this and you have been that. Like, I don't think it's going to help for a person who is already sick and suffering, and then to analyze their situation and the causes of them.
Yes.
It hurts all the more.
Yes.
And maybe they will say, don't come again.
Yes.
I want my peace.
Yes.
I'm already sick. You know, it, in the past, it has been also part of our lesson study
Yes, yes,
that how Christ dealt with
yes,
sick
yes,
people.
yes, yes. You're right.
Go and sin no more.
It's
Or,
hmm,
yeah, but how we as Christians, followers supposedly of Him,
hmm,
have more to say. We have
yes,
more to say. Oi, your lungs is kaput because you smoked this, you
yeah, yeah,
did that, you did
yeah,
this. It hurts.
yes, yeah,
We should refrain from being so intelligent,
Judgmental.
judgmental.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like your ding is kaput because you did that, you did this.
We had to change our minds.
Our mind.
It's a way of those theologies that we have some prejudices and some theologies that cause
And this
this.
could be true because this could be true. Lecturing. But
Yeah,
I mean, lecturing is too late. It's already kaput. What they need is sympathy, empathy, and care.
yeah,
You know, it happened to me when I was sick all the time. People were giving me all the good reasons why I got cancer. When they were living more unhealthy lifestyles than I ever did in my whole life, but they were giving me all the reasons, and then God healed me,
Yeah.
they would again find fault in that. How, as a Seventh-day Adventist, you can accept chemotherapy? What a sinner are you?
yes,
I say, praise the Lord, I'm alive. But still, you know, whether it's good or bad, you are healed or you are not healed, people will always judge you and they think you are driving away our members.
we have to learn.
That's
We have
where
to
I was
I
going
agree
to.
with you,
This
100%. Yeah,
Empathy,
empathy.
sympathy.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
empathy.
Please.
Yes.
Let's not.
no, I agree.
Okay.
It's
Yeah.
intelligent.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, if there is no other question, so there should be a break and
I
snacks.
have one question.
One question.
Because Jesus Christ touched them, you said, and
Yes.
we can read that. He touched the lepers.
Yes,
And they are unclean.
yes,
In the Old Testament, when you touch an unclean
Yes.
person, you
You
become
are
unclean,
unclean.
and then
Yes.
you have to do the ceremony to make you clean. And then there's this call for us, Christians, saying to do what Jesus did.
Mm.
Like, for example, going to an infected person. Don't be afraid. Jesus touched them. Huh? I will touch them, then I will get infected, and then who will touch me again? Who will come to
I will
me and touch
I
me?
will give you advice. Start with lower level. Just accept those who are blind, deaf, paralyzed. When this miracle takes place that we accept them, we can go farther. Perhaps we can touch those who are infected. We will see miracles. But start with the small one. God always wants us to start with smaller things, and then we can then go farther. Yeah? Okay, so the break for I don't know how long is going to be the break. Yeah, 30 minutes. 30 minutes. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, we need to thank
So we have a 30 minutes break and we have a little snacks, please.
Hello. We are inviting everyone to please come in because we are going to start here in our watch. It is still 5 minutes. That I think the in the dining room is 5 minutes advance. Bong? Yes, it is 5 minutes advance outside. Huh? That is late? Yeah, but then you need to adjust there in the dining table. Because there it's already 4. It's 4. Mhm. Yeah, but still we are asking everybody to take your seat here, and then I will before Dr. Slovic will start. I would like to have a 3 minutes exercise. After it is not healthy after eating, but still we need to move. Mm. We are all here now. So in order to be awake, because I know that after eating we always feel sleepy. Dr. Sorry, did you recognize it during your visit that other eyes are closing?
The other eyes. I understand that you are tired.
So I would like to ask you if you could stand. It's only a very simple exercise to make us awake.
And if I'm awake, I have to stand.
Yes, you need to stand. Only very, very short. If you are like that. Yeah? It's only that. We are going to put our hands like that. Yes, yeah. And then put your toes. Only like that. Stretch, stretch, and then stretch, and stretch. Yeah. Stretch. It's very important. And then after that, hold your hands like that, and then only bend at the side. Okay. Bend it up. Very good. Yes. And then put it to the other side. Then. So. So if you are done with it, it's a little bit only like that. It's very important with our shoulder. So. And then other side.
To avoid frozen
And
shoulder.
then put your hands under your head and pull it go like that. Then we will put it to the other side. And then only once again. turn your head, because this is a very good circulation of our brain. So, and then you could put like that. Careful that you will not cough, because sometimes it is, yeah. So, it's good. So it's like, now you put your hands, just good. And then other side. So, and then put it up. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Wow, it is very good. Now I will show you exercise while you are sitting, which is very important during the seminar. And this is, yes, don't, while you are sitting, that if possible, don't sit like that, okay? So then you will feel asleep if you do like that. So the most important is you could sit straight, and you could do also your exercise while you are sitting. You could move try to move. Don't move your shoulder, just move your hips. This is very good. If you could sit like that, let's move. No one is angry if Dr. Sonic is still talking and you are still, you are just So this is an exercise where you could do everywhere. And also right here. Just exercise, do like that. And the last I would like to show you is that we will do exercises with our faces. Okay? Because sometimes if you are doing it here, you just sit down and just looking, and then after that, you're falling asleep. And so we need to do it.
Or the speaker will have some entertainment.
Just do all the possible movements of your face. Don't be shy and don't, you might look funny, but it's very important. So that just to prevent that we could do it. Yeah, so we need to go. Okay? So are you awake?
Yes, we are.
Okay. Yeah, thank you so much.
Is there more kamote?
No, this is an announcement. I don't know because we have been preparing also for dinner. But what time are you would like to eat? Because if we are done, we are still, I think our stomach is still full. And we have no, what time if we are going to prepare, what time you want to eat? It is a soup. Rice, soup is a specialty. So at 6 o'clock or at 5:30, because I need to prepare the kitchen. Please.
So sister,
Because I would like, he's visiting us here. Question and answers, part of the only that I would like to prepare also for us, that before we're going home, we are already supplied with something warm, and then you could enjoy. We have a very good experience. Oh, this is a seminar where we have eaten something.
there was no need.
No need. That's why Happy was already asking, because we said not our snacks is 4 months food in the Philippines. Only 4 people are eating it. I said, you have eaten it?
You're poor.
Ours is poor.
Yeah, I have banana.
Yes,
You are inclusive
you are inclusive. Okay.
to the poor.
Okay, so I will now see if it's something strange with you, with your movement. Like you are doing exercise, not to sleep. Yeah, thank you. So we have the last part before us, and I will now tell you how Adventist Possibility Ministry was born and how it's rising up. And I have also prepared one video for you, or not me, but Hope TV prepared video a few years ago. I've used it. I will show you a few people from our team and tell you about their stories, because it's always good if the people with special needs themselves are talking and are involved in this ministry. It's not about them, but with them. Yeah, it's important. So it will be a little bit, let's say, diverse now. Yeah, not just listening to me. Oh. So we as a church are not so old church. Yeah, and as for the focus on people with special needs, we did not anything systematic and global, although we are the global church. But there were some points in our history, usually local efforts, and just with, let's say, short time, not for the long time continuing. So in 1899, we know about our member, Austin Wilson. He was a blind American, and he began and with attempts to publish church magazine in Braille. Yeah. It was called Christian Records. Then, I don't know exactly between, I didn't found anything bigger. But in 1978, Warren Benfield attempted to promote activities aimed at people with special needs in North American division. Again, a local and for a short time effort. In 1980, Christian Records, which published something in Braille as well, attempts to expand activities to include people with hearing impairments. So it was in America and locally. Yeah? And now, we know that there were some inclusive efforts in society from 80s in 20th century. And we can say, as for inclusive education, it was 1994 conference in Salamanca. There was a declaration of Salamanca statement signed by, I think, about 100 of countries. So it's an initial, we can say, initial time for inclusion in education, and there were some efforts around. But in our church, in 1999, there was a GC session in Europe, in Utrecht, and for the first time, point that the church should a group of people with special needs, or nothing else. Just, it's a vision in 1995. It took another 10 years until 2005, when the preparation of projects and structure of global service for people with special needs began, and it took another 5 years until 2010. In this year, the service or the focus on people with special needs was included into the department of Sabbath school and personal ministry. But we can say that this ministry was coordinated by people who knew almost nothing about this group, about this ministry. So it was formal inclusion into his department, but nothing changed. I saw that from behind, and in fact. But then the year, another 5 years, 2015 came, And this was a very specific time because in this time, in these years, a lot of people with special needs started to come to our church. We cannot explain it somehow, but in Brazil, a lot of deaf people came to our church and they wanted to be included. In other countries, even in our union, one deaf family came to our church and wanted to be a part. A man on a wheelchair, previously Methodist pastor, came and wanted to serve and be part in our church and started to come. It was at the same time almost in many countries around the world. And it was the start of movement, some kind of movement, because these people started to come and made a friends in a church, and they wanted to change something in our church so that they are real involved, they can be members, they can understand the sermon, they can be included in the life of the church. And in this time, pastor in North America, Larry Evans, he was somehow working also at GC, and he has the son with autistic, not son, it was grandson with autistic spectrum disorder. And he also was a pastor previously in a church in North American Union, where a group of deaf people met in this church. They were involved somehow. So he came to president of GC, Ted Wilson, and told him, we should really start to do something, I hope, in our church. And Ted Wilson told him, okay, we will, if you will coordinate it, if you get this task. So Larry Evans accepted this, even though he should have been retired in the time, and started to be, he was an assistant to president of GC for special needs ministries. In that time, first name of this ministry was Special Needs Ministries. I have on my jacket also the sign with S and M letters on the logo, because it was called Special Needs Ministries, logically. And for the first time in 2015, in our global church calendar, a new special Sabbath appeared, and it was Special Needs Awareness Day on the 4th Sabbath of April. From this time, every year, the 4th Sabbath in April is this special Sabbath for this ministry. Yeah, I don't know if you mention it or if you know about it. We have a lot of Sabbaths, special Sabbaths. So this Sabbath is for this ministry. And that was the beginning. I didn't know anything about Larry Evans and these events when we started in 2015 in our union, because also in our union, these families and people started to come in our union. After the years, I told yesterday, who was there, you know, that after more than 20 years, 25 years, which I tried to push this ministry in our church and the doors was closed. I always heard, we are not a social institution, we are mission church, etc. And doors was closed. And finally now, in 2015, I was called by our union if I can help with this ministry, to start this ministry. So we started. I made a small team from one deaf sister who came to our church, and a man on a wheelchair, previously Methodist pastor, and later another one sister on a wheelchair came. So I started with them and with volunteers who wanted to join us, and started to learn sign language, started to learn how to make a transcription of spoken language for the deaf people into the written form, etc. Later, a year later, I met Larry Evans, and we started also to do something in our division. And at the time went on, and what was very important, it was last GC session in 2022. General Conference session voted a new part of the church manual. There is a new paragraph or new chapter, and it's a section of Adventist possibility about Adventist possibility ministries. You find it in chapter 8, and it's after the church departments. There is a section on Adventist possibility ministries, and it talks about what this ministry means in a brief summary. There is also one important point that we as a church started to recognize the deaf community of people who were born as deaf, and their mother language is sign language, so they are accepted as a language and a culture minority even in our church from this time. Yeah, and there is also written that it's expected that in each church, in every church, there should be Adventist Possibility Ministries coordinator. It's a little bit difficult with that because I am not so big optimist to expect that in every church there will be Adventist Possibility Ministries coordinator. Yeah, sometimes it's hard to have other ministries, other departments, leaders in small churches especially. And it is not a department. It is still a movement. And in the church manual, it's not called department. We are not a regular department like the department, children department, Sabbath school department, etc. We are a movement because it's coming from the bottom. And we do not want, even on GC level, we do not want to be a formal department. It's a living movement within a church. So if we feel the expectation of church manual that there should be coordinators in our churches for this ministry, I would prefer that it should be a person who is called to this ministry. It's good if it's even somebody with special needs, because it's good if this ministry is with these people, not about these people and behind them. And it's good if it's somebody who feel in his or her heart that it's ministry for him. Yeah? So I don't know if you heard about this. Not yet. So you have no coordinator of this ministry. Yeah? You have. You are the coordinator. It always did. Somebody who knows about it, something is involved. So in this church, you can think if there is somebody who can be a coordinator. You saw a sign on more times on the first slide. You saw a sign of a logo of our ministry. It was the first logo when the name was Special Needs Ministries, Adventist Special Needs Ministries. And what is very important line? It's the bottom. It's the motto of ministry. It's still there. All are gifted, needed, and treasured. Yeah. And because the group of deaf people as a language and culture minority is somehow special. I told you yesterday that many people from this group, those who are born as deaf and they feel themselves to be language and culture minority, they do not want to be considered a part of Adventist Possibility Ministries because the ministry covers people with special needs, and they do not consider themselves to be people with special needs. They consider themselves to be a culture minority. Yeah.
In the Austrian law, it's like this.
So
In the Austrian law, they are a culture and language minority, linguistic minority. Culture and linguistic minority, they are not. Yeah.
and they are not covered in a law for people with special needs.
They can conflict of all those laws.
Yes, that's it.
They can
They,
probably take
yeah,
advantage
yeah.
if they want to.
Yeah.
But they are considered a linguistic minority, and sign language is an
One official language. Yeah.
language of the Austrian government.
Yes, it's also in our country, but for the social laws, and for social support, they are considered as a persons with special needs.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
and they accept it. So it's a little bit different with them, because even for us it can be hard to understand someone, for people, because they really have some special needs in communication, etc. But they try to separate from other groups. So they have also one special kind of ministry under Adventist Deaf Ministries International. Yeah. So we meet together in our union. We decided to cover all of these, even the deaf people under Adventist Possibility Ministries. But in some countries, and especially in North America, I know about that they want to be separated. So you can also see the signs of the hands rising from the Bible as a sign of sign language. It's really special because they cannot read. If they have sign language as their mother tongue, they are not usually able to read a regular Bible, as I told you. They cannot learn written language and spoken language in a level that they can understand that they need some other. But in comparison to blind people, we have the Bibles in Braille and in audio version, but there is no complete Bible in sign language version. Yeah. Even I think American Sign Language Bible, maybe it's already finished, but it's in American Sign Language. And it's not fully understandable for deaf people in other countries around. In our country, I know that we have about 100 chapters in sign language now available. In many countries, there is almost nothing. And so it's not available for deaf people in their language. Still, there is a language where the Bible is not available fully. So when in 2019, the name changed to Adventist Possibility Ministries. And it was changed because so that there is no labeling. We, or brothers, did not know to stress special needs in the name. In our language, in Czech language, we stayed at the name, in translation, Adventist Special Needs Ministries, because we are not able to translate the name Adventist Possibility Ministries into Czech language so that it makes sense. Yeah. It's possible in German, yes. So we stayed in European division. We stayed in most countries at Adventist Special Needs Ministries because it made the sense, it's understandable in our culture and in language. So just as you know, this is the new logo and the new name of this. It was just effort to stress that these people are not only people with special needs, but they have possibilities, and that we are looking for possibilities for them in our church. If you want to look at the website of this ministry, so possibilityministries.org, and you find there resources in English and other languages, even in German and other languages. So you can use it. You can find there information about 7 parts of this ministry. And can I continue? Here are the values and goals that you can find also in the documents and the website of this ministry. So, special needs does not always mean dependence and low abilities at all. It's first point. Empathy needed instead of compassion with these people. Respect, equality, and equity for all people. Opportunities instead of barriers. It's a vision of this ministry. Yeah. Help and mission in one, as I said. I couldn't understand how can we divide mission and care of these people. God's miracle is not the healing of a disabled person, but if He unconditionally accepts them in our community. Yes, it's a vision of this ministry for changing in our church to really open for these people, accept them, include them. And we stay on so-called 3A strategy. It's written in details in a document which was accepted in GC session in 2022, and it's summarized in 3 simple points. Awareness. It means to care of these people, to know about them, yeah, to reach them somehow. So it's awareness. And the day on the special day on 4th Sabbath in April is called Adventist Possibility Awareness, or today Adventist Possibility Sabbath. But first it was called Special Needs Ministry Awareness, it was Special Needs Awareness Day, Awareness Sabbath, because we need to wake up the church, to make it more aware of these people, yeah? To know more about them. The second point, second A, is acceptance. To accept these people, to open for them so that they can enter. It means also that we need to make the barriers lower, or just to remove them so that they can enter, not only the stairs, but communication barriers, social barriers, etc. And the third A is action. To do something so that these people are a living part of our body, to prepare opportunities for them, to involve them in action of the church, life of the church, really. So these 3 A's. I will show you the video in a few minutes. And Larry Evans, it was with him when we visited us in Prague. We prepared special Sabbath in our union, and he will, in video, he talks about these 3A because it started with him. Now he's retired, and we have a new leader in GC, but he was the person at the starting point. So we need to answer some important questions related to this 3A strategy. The first question is, we start to consider how we think about people with special needs. We talked with some of you, I talked about how these people are considered. Sometimes they are not, even by Christians, considered to be the equal persons to others. And sometimes we learned in a society to talk about them and think about them in a not very inclusive way. So it depends on our values, on our thought paradigms, on the influence of our family education and school education. Yeah? What did you learn about people with special needs in school? What did you hear about them? Yeah? Did you meet some classmates with special needs? How it looked in a school, how it was going? We have some experience. We have also perhaps some personal experience, maybe with somebody with special needs who was not very good to us, or we can have some bad experience even, yeah? And we can have also some prejudice. We have some prejudices because we live in society where these prejudices are rooted. Yeah, so we have to think about how do we think about these people? Is the first question. You can check it yourselves in your life, in your mind. How do you get this? What's the answer to this question for you? How do we talk about people with special needs? Is the second question. We think about these people and we also talk about them, write about them. It's also important. The word, vocabulary that we use if we talk about them or write about them. Yeah. we should, if we are inclusive, we should use so-called people first language, so that this person, as a human being, as a people, as a man or woman, is at the first place. And if there are some special needs or some kind of disability, etc., it's the second part. It's not the first. Yeah. So it's also in a language, and it's also in categorizing. If we talk about them in a way of diagnosis, labeling, stigmatizing, yeah, it can be somehow specific. The third question is, how do we support people with special needs? Yeah, sometimes they need our help, physical help, financial help, social help, if it's necessary. Yeah, it can be. But they need also a support in a way of acceptance, unconditional acceptance. They need to get dignity. They need to feel that they are a person with dignity. They have to feel equally in our community. They need our respect, yeah, not just sympathy or tolerance, but respect, acceptance with everything what is in their lives, just as they are, just as God accepts them. And there is a question if we use so-called person-centered approach. Yeah? The person on the first, you know that because in helping professions, it's just a basic approach to people. So we have to learn the person, the people on the first place, and if there is some issue, some challenging thing in the life, it's the second. And last question, how do we enable these people to participate in the life of our church? We have some expectations in a church, and we should look for some opportunities how to involve these people, even though they do not always meet our expectations of a level of service. They can be somebody who can serve in some field. And we should consider if we are able to adjust our expectations for the service of this person, what he or she is able to do, etc. Otherwise, we exclude these people because we will expect higher level of standards and they cannot meet these expectations. Yeah. We have also some assumptions. Sometimes we assume that some person with special needs, something is able or is not able to do. You can be surprised because these people can do something that you would not expect, and on the contrary, it's otherwise. Yeah. So we should always ask, or we should always try if this person, try if is able or not able. They need encouragement for their activity. A lot of these people heard not very good things, not very good expectations towards them, because they usually are or were considered to be disabled. It means not abled. And they need encouragement that they are able to do something in a church, that there is God who can help them and that they are gifted. So you can see that it's a person with potential, but with very low level of self-confidence or confidence in God's power. And they need encouragement because they were learned to be low and not to think about themselves as about those who are able to do something. Yeah. And we have to empower them for their service. It means give them opportunities to do something. As I said, if there is somebody who can visual impairment or is blind, in many times such a person can serve in music, sing, or play the piano, etc. Is there somebody who is deaf? They can do many things. Sister Hitka, my colleague from my team, she's not totally deaf, but she is almost deaf. And she, for instance, prepares nice stories for children because she is playing with images, with more senses, etc. Yeah, it's always good. Daniel, you will see them on videos. Daniel, pastor on a wheelchair, he has a gift of preaching. He never writes his sermon. But when he is staying on a wheelchair here and he's preaching, it's always make the sense. It's very clear. It's very interesting, and he has also a nice sense of humor. So it's always nice sermon touching the people. So these people has the gifts, and we have to find them and encourage them and empower them into the service. You will see also my colleague, my sister Andrea. She is also on a wheelchair, living from the birth with cerebral palsy, and she is now finishing our theological seminary, and she is preaching. Although 8 years ago, when I met her for the first time, she was not able to speak in front of more people at all. She had spasms, she wouldn't be able to say anything, and now she's preaching for the big church even. So God changes the thing in people. You just need to be encouraged and empowered in that. Okay, so I would like to show you the videos. We will start, it's just 5 minutes. We will divide it into four parts. Just the first, it's a short introduction of this ministry. It was made by I Hope TV, and there is Larry Evans speaking, and then we stop, and I will tell you about our stories. So we will start.
All differences are the same. Some are accepted by society, but others are not, and such differences can handicap the individual. Adventist Special Needs Ministries was established so that people who have serious physical, psychological, or social problems can hear the good news of the gospel and join as full members of the Christian community and serve others with their own special gifts.
We hold no right to exclude anyone who is earnestly seeking the Lord, and on the contrary, despite any handicap, every person is valuable, needed, and endowed with talents from above. Adventist services are active in ministering to the deaf, but we also wish to address people with visual handicaps, health disabilities, communication issues, mental challenges, or autistic spectrum disorders.
Special Needs Ministry has a three-pronged strategy. Very simple, what we call the 3A strategy. Awareness of who these people are, awareness of their needs, and aware of their possibilities. Number 2, we want to make sure that we accept these people. What are these people? How do they feel? How can we help them have a sense of belonging? So it's not just having their name on the list. And then thirdly, we need to develop some action steps, action plans by which we actually find ministry for them. They are not just people who are recipients. They also are people who have much to contribute, and we must find ways by which they can contribute. Every person needs to be involved. Every person has been created in the image of God, even if they can't see, hear, or walk. We need to make sure that that possibility that God has put in them as a way of being expressed.
Yeah, stop here. Thank you. You see that we have the titles there. It's not just only so that you can better understand, but we try now in our union to put in most videos subtitles, because for people who are deaf or who are hearing loss, and for other groups, it's very important and only way how they can understand and use these resources in videos. Yeah. Of course, for the deaf people who use like sign language, they are not able to use subtitles in a very effective way. So we try now to make some videos, some good programs, videos also interpreted in sign language. But it takes much more time. It's much more expensive, and so we choose some videos, some programs, some serials, and translate it also into sign language. But we try to put subtitles in every video so that people who have communication issues can understand as others as much as possible. So now 3 stories, so short stories of my colleagues of my team in our union. The first will be Daniel. He was a pastor in Methodist Church. And then he somehow met Adventist Church and came to our church in 2015, I think it was the year, and he wanted to serve there. So he will speak for himself. They all have a question there, what the church means for you and what the service, the ministry in the church means for you. How can you be involved? And what's your experience in a church? So you will listen at first to Daniel, and I will tell you more about him after this short part. So the first part, Daniel.
The church is a community where a person learns to love and to forgive. I think that every member of the church should serve in some way. It is a manifestation of faith and a commitment to be concerned about others. In my case, I was always called to serve by someone else. Once, when I was returning from a lecture in my wheelchair, the director of a hospice stopped me and said, "You would be great in our hospice. When you come into the room of our client on your wheelchair, it is clear that you have lived through something and that you are not a successful young person that doesn't know, in fact, if he really understands what the ill person is going through."
A ani neví, jestli rozumí tomu, co nemocný prožívá.
Stop, yeah, thank you. Daniel serves as a chaplain in hospice now. He has a wife, you saw her, she takes care of him, and she is a gypsy woman. It means that she is also a person with special needs, because these people are somehow excluded, and there's a lot of prejudices in our community, in our society. So Daniel always say they have 3 children together, and now I think 4 grandchildren even. And Daniel always says, we told to our children that they are double handicapped, because they have a father on a wheelchair, handicapped, and they have a gypsy mother, which is also somehow disadvantaged. Yeah. And he's also really has a gift in preaching, in helping people. He was a special life. He was born with a cerebral palsy, and it was during communist time, and he was put into the home for children with special needs. His parents couldn't decide. It was in communist era, so he raised in that home. And when he was 18, because he's intelligent, he recognized that there is no good perspective for him in society. So he tried to kill himself. He committed suicide, but it was not successfully. And he was put into psychiatric hospital after that. Yeah. And then he came to a room where the clients in the psychiatric hospital sat around the table. And there was a book opened on this table. And he asked them, "What book do you read here? What kind of book?" And they told him, "It's a Bible." And he said, "Oh, you read the Bible?" And they said, "No, we do not read it. We smoke it." They just took the leaves and made the cigarettes. And he asked them, "And what will you do after you smoke it, the whole book?" And they said, "We asked some Christians, and they will bring us another Bible, and they will be happy that they can bring us a Bible." And he asked them, can you lend me this Bible, this book?" So they lent it to him. And he said, when he opened it, it was almost empty. There was only a book of Revelation. So he started to read Bible from the book of Revelation. even though there he found the hope, and he met the people, Christians, and he became Christian, and finally he entered Methodist church, and he became a pastor there. He had a church with 30 people on wheelchairs. But finally he met Adventists, and he recognized that he needs to believe and to live what we believe in our church. So he came to our church and wanted to serve. So he served in hospice, and he also helped us in Adventist Possibility Ministries. And he has a lot of funny stories in his life. And if he tell to people in our special Sabbath, we make special Sabbath some in the churches around in our union, he always bring to people the hope and very positive seminar for their lives, so they recognize that even on a wheelchair, you can live with a humor, with hope, with faith. And he also has experienced with some attempts to heal him, because when he looked for the churches, it was in 1990s in our country after revolution. So a lot of churches arose in our country, also Pentecostal churches, and they healed the persons on wheelchairs, etc. So he also participated in some worships, and they tried to heal him. And he never arose from the wheelchair. And he was unhappy, because they came and they put hands and they tried to heal him, and they never raised. And they told him, "You have the small faith. If you really believed into Jesus, you would rise." So he was in depression, because he thought he is a lost Christian. He is not accepted by God because he was not raised from a wheelchair. Today he says, "I am happy that I am on a wheelchair because I have God. So if I come on a wheelchair to God's kingdom, that's the way." Yeah. So it was Daniel. We can now show the second video.
In our world of no sound, communication is important. It is everything, because where there is no communication, there are no relationships.
I am in the world. I go out there, but as a deaf person, there are many barriers to communicating with me. Sometimes I don't understand the world, and sometimes the world doesn't understand me. That's why I go to church, because people there understand me. We share joy between ourselves. We talk. People are willing. We search for ways, and we support each other.
As deaf people, we may not hear, but we feel with our hearts. We can see and feel maybe more than some people can imagine.
Yeah, stop there. So it was Jitka Moravkova. She was born to the Adventist family. Oh, her mother was Adventist. I don't know father, but mother. And she has a sister, and she attended the church from their childhood. And they have a special genetic disorder, which makes it that you are losing your hearing during the life. So she started to losing hearing from the childhood. When she was 15, there was no sign language interpreter, nobody who could transcribe the speeches, the sermons. So they left the church because they were not able to understand anymore. They left the church, and she tried to live somehow outside the church. She found, because she was almost deaf, so she studied special education, and she worked in a school for deaf people, and she met there her husband, David. You saw him. He was born deaf, so his mother language is sign language. And he was born into non-Christian family and to hearing family. So even the family did not understand him. They did not learn sign language and did not accept him at all, we can say. So Yitka met him, and finally they decided to be husband and wife. And she said, if I will be married and you would like to have values like me, we need to get back to the church, to my church. So they went back. It was 2015 or early, just 1 year before. So they came to the church again and started to ask church to change something so they can understand, because she was almost deaf. Her husband was totally deaf, and they wanted to understand sermons, gospel, and to be involved in included in church life. So she started to push it, and it was 2015. So from our union leaders called me if I can help with that, because there is it kind of familiar. They want something, and they are very hard in that, and they wanted help with them and with that. So we started the ministry with this family also. And Yitka is very precious woman, because and for this ministry she is really a gift, because she learned spoken language and written language. She is able to speak, she is able to write, read. She's now able, she has cochlear implantation, so she is able to hear somehow, but she needs to read from your lips. And she also is signing, because she was almost deaf, and she has a deaf husband. So she understands both the hearing world and the deaf world, both communities, and she's able to connect it. It's very special, because you cannot find easily such a person. So it's a big help in this ministry. He helps me with deaf community. She's in fact, she is coordinator of deaf ministry. And now she is finishing our Adventist theological seminary, and she became, during the thanks to the project supported by division, she became a pastor for the deaf community. So she is serving as a pastor for deaf people. We have about, I think, 12 deaf people around our union, even though in Slovakia now. And she is serving. She is also participating in international group in our division. So it's very good. And she's able to serve with sermons, with children's stories. She is able, even when she interprets for deaf people, she is able to interpret the songs and singing. I said to you that not all interpreters do that, because it's higher level, and she do that as well. So she is only interpreter from our interpreters who is able to do that. So it's also good if we go to Sabbaths, for special Sabbaths, to sermons, so they see that even the music is something that deaf people want to hear, to feel, to enjoy. It's not only translation of the words, it's interpreting of the whole music, of the emotions, of the idea of the song. So it's more complicated, not only the words that are written in the lyrics. So it was Jitka, and now the first, Andrea.
Church fellowship is very important for me, since I belong somewhere. I am a part of something bigger, and I am not alone. In my case, it also substitutes family, because mine doesn't work very well. It is important because the fellowship not only gives something to me, but I can give something back. I think it is very significant that I am a part of it and that I am not only someone who needs help, but I am someone who helps and supports other people. I currently teach Sabbath school class, and I also used to sing before the sermon. But now I am most involved in working with handicapped people where I strive to eliminate barriers to coming together, and most of all, to break down barriers that healthy people have in their minds.
V rámci naší služby se snažíme.
In our ministry, we strive.
It's just my speech at the finishing. We can pass it. So, Andrea, I told you when I met you in 2016 for the first time, she was not able to speak in front of more people. It was 2019, and she was able to speak like this for this video. And now she's able to have sermons in a big church. She's finishing also theological seminary. She was born with cerebral palsy, and she has a sister with very severe multiple handicap. And she took care of her because they have not good family. So she lived with her sister. Her sister died last year. And she took care of them too. So she took care of themselves and for her sister. And they also she has still a dog, assistant dog. So she takes care of the dog. She's able, if I ask her to come she's living in Brno, and when I ask her to come for anywhere in our union, she's able to arrange transportation and assistance and come there and serve in a church. She's serving also a Sabbath school in a church, and she is the one who prepared the two special worships for people with intellectual disabilities, with the stories, drama, songs, etc. Not alone, but with pastor and other people, and it was very valued. She also finished special education studies, so it's a good part of our Adventist Possibility ministry teams. So these people, I am happy to have them in their team, because if I talk about this ministry, it's just like Daniel said, if people see me, I am not people with special needs. Yeah, I am. We have all people with special needs. But I am not with so visible special needs like them. And they can speak for themselves, and then they can show how these people can be gifted and how can they bring something to the whole church. And I feel it's very refreshing for the church, because some churches are almost sleeping today and getting older, and young people are leaving, and they don't know what to do and how to do something, to change something. And if we come there as a team and talk about this ministry, usually see that the people are more alive. And they find a way how to do something, to change something. Because if Daniel tell them about his story and about how can he serve in the church and what they can do in a church, what they can change. So it's, I think, a refreshment for some churches that are somehow getting down. Yeah. So I think it's a blessing from our Lord that these people are coming to a church, because they are coming with somehow different point of view, different experience, even different experience with the God. Because in their lives, God came with some special experiences, special things. They even feel this situation of that they live with special needs. They consider to be somehow a blessings, because they can, thanks to this, they can serve with something. They are near to God. So yeah, they can bring a different point of view to Christians who are a long time on the way with Jesus, and they lost some, how to say, maybe sometimes the hope, or sometimes the love, or sometimes enthusiasm. Yeah, so it can help, really, because God can use everything for good and for God's kingdom. Yeah, that's the way.
Are they living on their own? They have their own apartments, or they're living in taking in homes where they are taking care of
Facilities.
They are living. They are living at their homes. Yeah, themselves. Yitka with her family, Danielle with her wife and family, and Andrea. Yeah, she lived with her sister. I took for her. Now she's living alone. Yeah, they are independent. They are independent. Yeah, and they do not need, in fact, much help from the church because they use social services, some assistance. But it's paradox. Yitka, as a deaf person, she is now serving in our Christian institution, which provide or organization. It's NGO, in fact, which was founded by our members. It provides services for elder people, and she is a caregiver for elder people. They gave her elder people who are losing their hearing or are deaf, so that she can understand them well and communicate with them. So yeah, they all of them serve somewhere in the church and outside the church as well. Yes. So it was the stories. So it changed your look to people if you know the background always. And
in fact, without even knowing this organization, even back then, I know I belong to a church back home where we have members whose family are problematic with their eyes.
mhm,
It so happened that the uncle was an Adventist. The family brought them all the time. There was a time I was younger, I told one girl, you know, when you speak, your voice is beautiful. I think if you will start listening to the Christian music, you start memorizing them and
And singing.
learning them, you can be a good singer. It started to open the interest. She became almost every Sabbath singing.
yes,
I can relate to these examples that you have been saying. Like there was also in our church some people that are not very intellectual. They
yes,
are not
yeah.
intellectual.
So
I don't
lower
want to say
abilities.
anymore.
Yes,
But they're very helpful.
yes,
We have a lot of community projects. You know, in the Philippines, we're very
yes,
active. And they would help pick up people, drive the tricycles, and bring them to the
yes,
programs.
yes,
There are many ways that
yes,
people can help in
Yes.
the church. I can really see them
Yeah.
with
Yeah.
the way you were
yes.
saying.
Thank you for this. Yeah, if you will be open for them, I am sure that they will come. We have a new project supported by Division, and we call that They Will Come. It's a reaction to our global church motto, I will go. And we see that these people, they will come. And they will come because God said they will come. In Jeremiah, Isaiah, you read, I will call them and they will come. Those who are blind, deaf, lame, etc., they will come. And Jesus said, if all other people refuse to come to my dinner, my servants will go for those who are deaf, blind, lame, and they will come. They will come. So, yes, we have not time to continue, but I brought you a gift for the church as well. I prepared, oh, it's not functioning. Ah, here, yeah. I prepared a book, it's almost 10 years ago in Czech language, but in English version it was updated, I think 6 years ago. So I will let you one copy here so that you can borrow it and you can read it. There are more inspirations, how to think about these people, how to think about this ministry, how to invite them, how to find the right approach to them, so you can learn if you want. And I'm happy that it starts in Austria. We met in St. Gilgen in December. Now we're meeting here. Karen is here, and you are here. So it's nice. I will be praying for you. I pray for you as a country, as a union. I will be praying for you as a church, because now I see who are you. And I am sure that God will bless this ministry if you are open for that. You will see miracles. And I am not far from you, so next time when I come to Vienna, so hopefully I visit your church, I will see somebody with special needs here. Some other people, new people. If you need something, you can write me also. Here is email address. It's functional. Very good. Karen, you have, but that one is sometimes not so good. But this works very well.
This one looks very well.
Yeah, very well. There are some pictures. I just can tell you that these pictures are from the book. My older daughter, 10 years ago, when I prepared the book, I asked her to draw some pictures, so that the book is not only the text document. So there are some pictures. How can we see the situation with people who are different, people with special needs? If you have any questions, now is the time. I am ready to answer if I am able.
Are you offering this also for university students that are doing in the ministry in the Czech Republic?
What do you mean?
Like if you're a theology student, I would just say, because the focus is now people from outside, that they also have the knowledge of how to deal with pain. So it would start, yes, this is the grassroots, but it also starts with practically,
Yes.
having a little seminar like this is wonderful to open eyes of how to deal. But in terms of long-term perspective, would this be a course that they would offer at university?
So if we do this,
Yes.
if we do this like this now, if somebody invites me or us, as also Mitka is invited, she was in Spain last week or last month, etc. So we provide it, and in our church we do this in local churches, in congregations where there is an interest. Usually there is a person who is interested or feel callings to this ministry from God, and then invite us, and we prepare special Sabbath for that. And sometimes I also do, or we do, seminars or workshops for instance, youth leaders in our church or Pathfinder leaders, etc., because they also have to deal with some hard situation. For instance, Pathfinders and people, children with autistic spectrum disorders come, and they do not know how to deal with that. So we help them, and we also provide consultations for advisory for even local churches, pastors who called me and they need to help with something. Yeah, we do that. Last year, there was one church when a woman came, blind woman, and she studied Bible with pastor and wanted to be baptized. And she wanted to have baptism decree, certificate, yeah, in Braille. So we arrange it for her so that she can read it also and show it to other people who are blind. So that we try to provide a service. Yeah, we are not the group that can change everything. We need to prepare a background for churches and to teach the church to do something, and we are in the background to help. Otherwise, it would be like a department that is somebody who do everything in this area and others are sleeping. No, it's not possible here, because we can be in all churches, and if we want to invite these people to our church, to congregations, so the people there must be prepared. They must change the thinking about it. If they make a church reconstruction, they have to start also or include there also thinking about the people with physical disabilities, how they will get there. Is there very free access? How it will do that? About people with hearing impairments. If there is a deaf person or there are people who are hearing, they're lost. So we need some audio equipments, earphones, etc. Yeah. Uh, People who are blind, we need some orientation signs, etc. So, and they do not know what they should think about. So they can ask us and we can help. We tried to check, as I said, all buildings in our union for barrier-free access on a basic way, so that we can put the signs in the list of churches and one on a wheelchair who want to visit the church, so can see if this building is accessible or partly or not at all. Yeah? It's very good because it's a difficulty if you arrange everything and come to this building and it's not very free. Yeah, so we do step by step something to change the church. It's going. We have good support from our union, we have to say, and also from division, and we have a net of volunteers now. Yeah, so when we go through the churches and we make the special Sabbath, we always communicate with people who are participants and somebody who is interested in, and some members are also professionals in helping professions and they are interested. So we get their addresses, their emails, phones, and stay in touch with them.
So you have a list?
We have a list.
Specialist for blind? For
No.
sign language?
A list of volunteers. Just people in local congregations. They can help in our ministry, are able to and ready to help, and some of them can serve like coordinators of this ministry in a local church. They do not have to be always officially voted. It's enough that they are there and they somehow keep this topic on table all the time. And as the elections are coming to the churches, in some churches, the coordinator is voted, but it's not necessary. The necessary is the heart of this person and involvement in this ministry. Okay. Any other question? No. So I hope it was somehow useful for you, that you enjoy it, and we will stay in contact somehow. Thank you for invitation. Thank you for your participation. Thank you for the people who are waiting that they will be invited. They do know that. They do not know that yet, but they are waiting outside. And God bless you. If your families, yeah.
Do I understand it correctly? Most of the people who was having inside the church now, they came by themselves? And
Some of them were born in a church. And we have to say that some people that were born in our Adventist families left the church. Some people came because they were invited by somebody. And there is a big part of those who came themselves, somehow God called them to the church. Yes, so 3 groups. I'm not sure which one is the biggest, but these three groups we can find among them. Okay, thank you. Have happy Sabbath until the end. Thank you, and God bless you.
Before we will end up, we'll be closing some on a prayer. Before we're going to close. Yes. So this is the part of our program. Before we're going to after closing prayer, please don't go away because we would like to have first then a group pictures. Okay, so that we could have also remembrance of what had during our seminar. Dr. Snowy, we are so happy that you have accepted our invitation. And yes, and we have a small present for you and also to enjoy for your family.
Thank you very much.
And
Thank you very much.
this is a small one that you love, and we are so glad that you are with us. And
Thank you.
we
It
know
was a
that
pleasure for me. It was. Thank you for your warm welcome, especially for you because you took care of everything. And so, thank you as well.
okay, and thanks.
God bless you.
Okay.
Dr. Slovic, thank you very much for that very nice presentation. So to close our program this afternoon, I would like to invite you all to stand and we will sing hymn 369. 369.
Sowing in the morning, sowing seeds of kindness, sowing in the noontide and the evening, waiting for the harvest and the time of reaping. We shall come rejoicing, bringing in the sheaves. Bringing in the sheaves, bringing in the sheaves. We shall come rejoicing, bringing in the sheaves, bringing in the sheaves, bringing in the sheaves. We shall come rejoicing, bringing in the sheaves. Sowing in the sunshine, sowing in the shadows, fearing that the clouds are winter's chilling breeze. By and by the harvest and the labor ended, we shall come rejoicing, bringing in the sheaves, bringing in the sheaves, bringing in the sheaves. We shall come rejoicing, bringing in the sheaves, bringing in the sheaves, bringing in the sheaves. We shall come rejoicing, bringing in the sheaves. Going forth with weeping, sowing for the Master. Lord, let us sustain our spirit of and grace. When our week is over, he'll bid us welcome. We shall come rejoicing, bringing in the sheaves, bringing in the sheaves, bringing in the sheaves. We shall come rejoicing, bringing in the sheaves, bringing in the sheaves, bringing in the sheaves. We shall come rejoicing, bringing in the sheaves.
Heavenly Father, thank you very much for this opportunity to learn new ways to reach more people to you, that we can perform our duty of spreading the gospel in a better way, more suitable for other people. Please stay with us in the rest of this Sabbath and walk with those going home safely. Thank you for all the blessings. In Jesus' name, amen.
So I'm requesting everyone to please come in, also at the back, that we could have a group picture with Dr. Slovic, okay? We would like only to have a group picture. Thank you so much.